And Jen, you were telling us how you're doing with curing your thyroid nodule, and you were saying that you know there's a difference. You're not. Now what? Now did you figure out how to put it into words?
Yeah. Well, actually, I did have a symptom, one symptom, and that is I would get heart palpitations occasionally, and that hasn't happened in over a week. Now they weren't, I can't say it was like a pattern, like every day or whatever, but I just realized now that I haven't had any heart palpitations. And that is, one of the symptoms of the overactive thyroid. So that's good. And let's see, what else? Well, I'm just always I pretty much am in a good place all the time. And then when I kind of feel myself getting out of that, I do some Immunics and then I feel good again. So it's pretty cool.
So test this question: is the nodule on my thyroid disappearing?
Yes. I do ask that quite a bit, so
okay.
I usually get a yes.
Okay.
But I also ask if it's still there, and I get a yes for that too. So.
Right. Sure. So you're getting told there's more to do.
There's more to do. Yeah, there's a lot more to do. It's not just the thyroid.
Okay. Rattle off a few more things there are to do that are not the thyroid.
Well, there's a lot of dysfunctions that I have that affect not just my health, but my relationships, how I feel about myself, how I'm out in the world, and, as I get deeper into this, I realize that there is a lot to do.
How many kids do you have?
How many what?
How many kids have you got?
Two. A boy and a girl.
Do my dysfunctions affect my relationship with my children?
I already know that, but I can do the test. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Do they see my dysfunctions?
Yes.
Do they forgive me?
Yes.
Have you ever thanked them for forgiving you?
I get not in that way, but I do acknowledge what they do, and I do admit when I make mistakes with them, and but I don't say it just like that.
So that's going to be your homework for today. You're going to thank your children for forgiving you for your dysfunctions. Okay?
Okay. Well, my 8-year-old son's going to go, what does that mean? But well, they'll get it.
Test this question. What I just said, my 8-year-old son is going to say such and such. Is that one of my symptoms?
Yes. It's my fingers just going crazy over here.
And test, was I selling him short as a person by saying that?
Yes.
And see, that that's a very serious symptom. You're selling your son short as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, this is no little thing.
No.
This is the kind of thing that, when he's 30, he looks back on it and he says, gee, it's too bad that blank.
Yeah.
So these are big deals. All this stuff is big deals. See, I asked you to come here because you're a coach in metabolic control. This is what we're doing today. And originally, see, Franny and Ross have been meeting they're the women on either side of you in this movie. And they've been meeting, and they've been, working on this fast weight loss diet program that I'm planning. And I thought that you'd have a great contribution to make, and I do believe that. I think that you can really contribute. I think you're a fabulous coach for people in the area of metabolic. You teach kickboxing, yoga, and probably you give people all kinds of tips about their eating, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tons of things.
Unsolicited or not.
Well, every martial artist that I have ever known had all kinds of things to say about what to eat.
Yeah.
You know, this guy was visiting Steven Seagal. That he was interviewing him, and he went to Seagal's house, and Seagal was cooking this huge pot of stuff, and he was putting like dried lizards in it and stuff. I mean, he is like way into Chinese medicine. Anyway,
yeah.
So that's,
I don't give that kind of advice though.
not dried lizards, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm vegetarian, so.
So, see, for me, the fast weight loss diet really is the fast weight loss diet. And what I was thinking is that, I started thinking about this show more, and I started realizing that, you're here to cure a nodule on your thyroid, and the fast weight loss diet could turn into the fast thyroid nodule loss diet.
I'm up for it.
See, so that's what the movie is about for me. It's about the fast, thyroid nodule loss, and so that's what I thought we would do. So I want to give people things to test, and one thing is, does fasting, all other things being equal, does any particular, talking about lumping all, there's all different kinds of fasts. There's water fasts, juice fasts. You were talking about grape fasts. My staff did a goat milk fast. Isn't that right, Franny? Didn't they fast on goat milk?
Yes, they did. They did. It was herbs and. But the basis of the diet was goat milk.
Okay. So there's all kinds of fasts.
Yeah, there's all kinds of fasts.
All things being equal, does any fast normalize bodily functions?
Yes.
So test everybody. I want everybody to hold their hands up and test that question so we can all see it. Does fasting normalize bodily functions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody gets yes, and me too. And in fact, any book that you read about fasting pretty much says that. It's something everybody knows. It's common knowledge that when you abstain, your body, it has a chance to do things.
Right. Digestion takes a lot of energy, so
right.
You eliminate that, and then you can do other things like healing and whatnot.
Nope, I told you last night it's fine, and I am right. Actually, it's fine, but I'm just going to go on with it the way it is. Okay, bye. I was just that was Barb, but I was just telling her that it's probably we'll just go with this as it is. Jen, tell me the last thing you said again.
I just said when you fast, you eliminate digestion, which takes a lot of energy from your body, and then you can heal and do other things.
So the idea then is that fasting enables you to do things like get rid of a tumor.
Yeah, sure.
That's the idea, that if your body is capable of getting rid of the tumor, and you take the energy that you would have been spending on, digesting foods, and you know, just let go, you release it, then the tumor can disappear. Except it doesn't always work that way, does it?
No.
Like people have tumors and they fast to get rid of them and they don't, and the tumor doesn't budge, am I right?
Yeah.
Do you have very much experience with observing people fasting?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you mean by a lot of experience. I've done fasts myself. I know people who've done extended fasts. I, you know, read up on it. I believe in it. Yeah. I mean, more than the average person, I would say.
Ross, you did a kind of a fast. You were telling us about to lose weight. It was where you ate certain things, but not others.
Yes, but yes, okay. That was when I did a diet many years ago, and I lost weight, but very slowly. And what I did was eating fruits as a first thing in a meal. And then I ate either pasta or meat, not both together in the same meal. With pasta I could eat all the bread I wanted, but not with meat. And then I could choose to have boiled or raw vegetables. And it took me about a couple of months, maybe 3, before starting losing weight. But then I lost it all of a sudden. And it worked very well.
Did you keep it off?
Excuse me?
Did you keep the weight off?
Yes, for a good while.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing another kind of diet, but for a totally different reason, for emphysema. And I'm only eating vegetables, either steamed or raw. And then I eat fish and any kind of meat. I can't eat any food like potatoes that once ingested turn into sugar. I don't eat any sugar anymore. And yes, I think that's all. No bread, no pasta, nothing white, no cheese. Absolutely. I used to live on cheese because I adore cheese. But it seems, yeah, the cheese helps mucus form in the lungs.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to give it up.
So, in other words, you're on a diet that causes your lungs to eliminate toxins.
Yes.
So there are all kinds of diets that
And I've tried them all.
yes, you've tried them all, and me too.
Yeah.
And every diet is a form of fasting.
Yes.
It's some kind. It involves abstaining from certain things or from certain things at certain times of the day or whatever. A long time ago, it was about 4 years ago, I was having a terrible problem with hemorrhoids, and I didn't realize that I needed to take magnesium and stop any kind of calcium at all. Like no lettuce because it's high in calcium. Just no calcium, just magnesium and melatonin. So I hadn't discovered that yet, but I figured out a way to make my symptoms go away. And actually, when I started fasting, and what I did is I fasted on coconut water. And I found out that coconut water is it's a very balanced kind of water that it's high in certain minerals, but it's not high in calcium. And it was just the perfect thing. It got me through the day. I didn't need anything else, and my symptoms disappeared. And as soon as I would eat something, they came back. And then I read up on it, and I realized I needed magnesium, and I had to order it. So I was waiting for it to come, so I did this fast while I was waited 5 days for the magnesium to be delivered. I ordered it by mail because I buy from a company that only sells to doctors. It's very good supplements, so I decided to use theirs. And the fast worked for me. I thought the fast was good. I lost 20 pounds. I was down to 125 pounds. I scared my neighbors. I went over to give my neighbor something, and she went, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You look at you, it's so thin." You know, and then I realized maybe I should, you know, probably it might be good to start eating. So.
But there is a tendency, I think, to think that slim people have something wrong. Also here in Italy, if you lose weight, people start telling you, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But sometimes it's good to lose weight. It depends.
Well, he did look a little bit like he was a survivor of Auschwitz, you know. I mean, it wasn't like this being thin.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, 125 pounds sounds pretty light. I don't know how tall you are, but that's not a lot.
I'm 5'11".
Yeah, that's really skinny.
But I agree with you, Rosella, because my father's very thin. He keeps wanting to gain weight, and his doctor keeps saying, "What do you want to do that for?"
Well, so I want to ask you, Jen, to test, and I want everybody to test this with Jen. Is there a kind of fast that she could do that would support her body in removing this nodule from her thyroid?
I guess yes.
Well, I got no, but I think we should go over a little history of me and fasting. And
okay, go ahead. Go. Let's hear the history.
Yeah. Well, I tend to abuse diets, and I think it has a lot to do with the way my thyroid is now, and over-exercising, over-dieting, yeah. So I thought about doing a fast. Believe me, it was the first thing I thought of when I found out I had this, and I talked to my niece, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she said, "No, you don't fast," because, you know, she knows my history, and she said, "You need to, you know, chill out and."
Oh, Jen, you lost your mic.
All right, where did you lose my? Is that better?
Not that much. Can you get it right out straight in front of you?
Okay, better?
It's better.
Okay. Yeah, when I move around a lot, then it gets bad. So, anyway, with my history of fasting and on the recommendation of my niece, the Ayurvedic practitioner, said, "Please don't fast."
Now, let's test this. When you started talking about this, you started moving around a lot,
Yeah.
and when you moved around, you lost your mic.
Yeah.
Is that a symptom?
Yes, but I don't know what I don't understand the question.
Okay.
Is it that thing from yesterday when I started to babble a lot?
Well, test. Is that what it is? Is it that same thing?
Okay. Yes.
And remember yesterday you tested that that's actually a symptom of the thyroid nodule.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, that what happened when we started, first we tested about the diet thing. And you got no. And then we went to, you started explaining this, and you went like into this state, and that's a symptom of this babbling. What is causing the babbling? That it's the thyroid. Like, what does it feel like when you? Because this is obviously you were saying that one of your symptoms is heart palpitations, right?
Yeah.
Of the thyroid node.
It's like an anxiety. It's
Okay, test this.
That's what I was
Is the
feeling.
babbling you're saying the babbling is a symptom of anxiety?
Well, I'm calling it babbling, but I think it's anxiety and not feeling comfortable communicating, like I'm not doing it right or getting it across the way I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I babble. That's what I call it, babbling.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel better now.
Well, so you feel better now.
Yeah, I feel better now.
Okay. Right now you should test, did I cure something?
I got a yes.
Okay. Here's the essence of this fast weight loss diet program, okay? The theory is that it can be pretty simple to control your metabolism. Did you read the things that I posted on my Facebook wall?
Yeah.
So there are 4 factors. Can you remember what they are and rattle them off real fast?
Sleep.
Okay, 1.
The 4 factors was
1, sleep. What's the other ones?
what you eat, supplements, sleeping, eating, supplements, and exercise, I think.
Exercise is 1. Rhythm is 1.
Rhythm, yeah.
It's the rhythm of rest and movement is 1. The actual,
Okay.
like, when do you sleep? Like, I take a nap every afternoon. After my nap, I get up and exercise. I don't get up and, do other things. I get up and exercise. Get it? You with me?
Yeah.
Ross,
It's a good point.
it's the
Yes.
rhythm of it. Yes. Okay. It's the rhythm of it. Franny, you with
Yeah,
me?
I also, I exercise when I get up in the morning. So.
Yeah. Okay. And so you exercise. You exercise after you get up too, and that sets your metabolism. And do you take a nap
That's
in the
right.
afternoon?
Sometimes I do. And usually what happens is I'll go into my room and do some Immunics and I kind of fall asleep.
So actually,
I think it's cool.
so actually, taking a nap is normal. Like when you're in a state of being. See, the thing that a lot of new people don't understand this, but it seems like you do understand, that when you cure one thing, like you cured something a few minutes ago, and right now you're in a very normal state. It's like you've cured everything you'll ever need to cure in your life, right? Don't you feel that way? It's like you're okay.
Yeah, I do.
And see, this deceives people, so they don't actually keep curing things. They think, oh, I'm fine, I did it, I took it all out, it's gone. And then an hour later they say, oh, it's back, I guess it didn't work. And they don't realize it was never supposed to be that anyway. They made that whole thing up in their twisted minds. That's not what it was supposed to be. You were supposed to keep working.
The virtual reality.
Yeah, it's a virtual. That's what it is. People live in virtual realities.
Yeah.
Everybody test this question here, right here. Do I, meaning you, live in a virtual reality a lot of the time throughout the day?
Yes, but I knew that without testing.
Now, Franny, what'd you get?
Yeah,
I get yes too.
Okay, do I? I get no. One interesting thing about me is that I use virtual realities all day. Like I'm always trying to, construct what I need.
So what would be the difference between manifesting and the virtual reality?
The difference is that when you manifest something, it's not virtual. It's real. Right?
But if it hasn't happened yet and you're picturing how it's going to be and you got it all mocked up in your head,
then it's probably never going to happen. You're not.
That's actually not how you manifest something.
Yeah, that isn't how you manifest something.
I'm not an expert on that.
Well, you should read the book I wrote called The Secret Meets the Cure Drive.
I did. I read half of it, but I did start it.
Read the rest.
Okay.
See, like we're master manifestors. And actually, to manifest something, you don't even have to ever think about it.
Well, I mean, you could say everything's a manifestation, and that's why
you sure can.
They warn you to school your thoughts about what you want.
That's right. See, the question is, what can you let in? Because you may have the exact thing you want and just not be willing to let it in.
Right.
Like, look at the flip you did about your son when you were talking about your son before. First you said he was going to say this inane thing, and then you said, oh no, he'll probably get it. Remember?
Yeah.
So first you weren't letting it in, and then you sort of let it in, and then I confronted you about it, and then you cured it, and then you let it in.
Right.
So now you have this, test this question, has my relationship with my son changed in the last half hour?
Yes.
Yeah, your relationship changed because you changed. You did something. That's real. You already had manifested what you want. Like you have what you want with your son. You know? See, when I create virtual realities, I'm not trying to manifest something. I'm trying to get better at dealing with what I've got. That's what I use virtual realities for. It's like what pilots do when they sit in front of a computer and do a flight simulation. And they log hours that way. That's what I do all day. I use virtual realities to, like I rehearse my work with you, for example, Jen. Like, what am I going to do in this session? And then I see into you, and I read you. I see what you're about. I go, okay, what does she need next? And I do that, and
Yeah.
How are you feeling now? Franny, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine.
And Ross, what about you?
I'm feeling relaxed.
Okay, so let's move forward then. Okay, here's the theory of the fast weight loss diet. It is this. It is that you have these 4 factors that control metabolism. It isn't that hard to figure out how to apply these things. Generally, you can figure out what nutrients you need, what foods you need to eat. None of this is that difficult. The difficult stuff is what we've been doing in this movie for the last half hour. That's the stuff that's difficult. It's the stuff that interferes with people actually doing these things. Like, here, test this question. Is there a certain kind of fasting which, if I did it, it would cause my thyroid, it would help my body get rid of my thyroid nodule?
Okay. Yes.
Now here you go.
I got a yes.
See, you got yes this time, no before. Why?
I needed to do that babbling thing.
Tess, did I need to cure something?
Yeah.
What do you get, Franny? You get yes? She says yes. Franny's on mute because she sounds like...
God, or something.
Because we're in the same room, that's why. It's a big room, but she's on the other end of it, but we're still in the same room. So anyway, okay, so that's what we've been dealing with. Now, for example, when people have cancer, I always tell them to eat grapes, to do a grape diet, a grape fast where they don't eat anything but grapes, or do the grape fast that's described in the book or whatever. I don't know that much about it, but I usually tell them to go get the book and read it. But I tell them I think that they should do that because I've seen really amazing results with it. And for example, you know the woman, there's a woman named Angela who's curing breast and bone cancer in the, have you ever watched one of her movies?
Yeah, I've seen them all.
Oh, you've seen them all. So and they're on the Hub, right? There's a whole series of, and so you see that she was on a grape diet.
I did, I remember.
And she had no toxic effects from her medication.
Right. Right.
You know what finally happened to her?
I was wondering.
I don't know if you remember, but she was saying one of her doctors was like sort of giving her the evil eye.
Okay.
There was something in one of her movies about that. And she was off to the hospital for her next hospital visit. She went every week. And I never saw her again. She disappeared. After weeks and weeks we worked together doing this, and she was doing fantastic. And when she got off the call with me, she was saying, "Hey, great, okay, I'll see you Saturday." You know, we were going to talk again. Never spoke to me again. Would not answer the phone, nothing. Cut me off totally. About 3 months later, she died.
Uh-uh.
You mean Angela, that beautiful blonde girl?
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Me too.
Seemed like she was doing really well.
That, to me, that's my definition of horror.
But do you know what happened? Did she stop doing Immunics?
I don't know, Ross. There's something. Maybe I'll talk to you for a minute. Ross, do you know that there are a lot of people who do Immunics and they cure things?
Yes.
Right? Without, being in, maybe they don't like me, or they don't want to be a part of the cure team or the cure drive or whatever, and they're just out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But they do something, whatever it is, that they call Immunics. And it is probably some form of Immunics, and they are producing an immunic response, and they do feel better, or think they do anyway, and probably they do. They're probably curing something. They just don't cure what they would were they connected with you, me, and the rest of us.
Because they are not in the right context.
Because there's something they fundamentally rejected.
Yeah.
And won't do, and it's not going to happen. And so, like I notice, you do Immunics with your sister, and she has gotten lots of results, and you tell me about those results all the time. You just spent a day with her, didn't you, a few days ago?
Yes.
How'd that go?
we did Immunics, but she's always, you know, I have to insist a lot.
Yeah.
It's not that she says yes immediately. I have to convince her.
And she certainly is, she's not here. I mean, we haven't met her. She hasn't come to a meeting, or, you know, she isn't a part of it. She hasn't done it for herself. And so you're going to need to face that she just, you know, it just may not be good enough, what she's doing.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and so that's the thing. See, the question, is so-and-so doing Immunics, is really too simplistic.
Yeah.
There's just a lot more to it than that. You know, people come into our web college, like a guy wrote to me and he said, tell me how you cure your herpes. He wrote to me yesterday morning, and I gave him the link, and he said, well, I've watched half the movie, but I don't get it. And I said, oh, well, maybe it's not for you. And he wrote back and he said, well, what do you mean by that? And I, you know, that was, I said, well, you know, then I wrote back, oh, or just watch more movies and see if you can get it. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, you know. Thing is that he did not reach out to me in a way that caused me to want to help him or be with him. He isn't capable of doing that, and I can't really change him. But that is a symptom that probably means that he really can't do it. He isn't. I think there's a lot of people who, like, they can't go past a certain point. What do you think about this, Ross?
It's possible.
I mean, you're thinking about your sister now, right?
Yes.
Well, tell me what you're thinking about your sister.
Well, when she was really, really scared, she was available to do anything. That's what I think. And she did a lot of Immunics. Even if she was complaining, even then, when I told her, do Immunics all day. I do it all day, I can't do anymore. You know, she was getting very, almost angry. Anyway, she had great results because she was able to face her fear, and she didn't want anyone with her the morning when she entered the operating room, because she told me, I feel this is something I have to face for myself. And then she kept doing Immunics, and in fact she had beautiful results. When she was dismissed from the hospital, the doctor told her, I was sure you would go out of here on a wheelchair, and you are walking out of here on crutches, okay? But she was expecting even more than that. In my opinion, she wasn't grateful for what she had achieved. She thought and she expected to go back to her life as it was before. And of course it didn't happen, you know. And then after she gave a lot, and she did a lot of Immunics, and she really fought, at a certain point she gave up. That's what I think. And then she resumed doing Immunics, particularly now that my aunt died, because they were sick more or less at the same time, okay? And it was also the time that my cousin Simone had the cancer the first time, and my cousin was operated and he was fine. My aunt was operated and she was fine, and this year both of them had a relapse and both of them died. So Gabriele started doing Immunics again, but she should do more. In my opinion, she should do more.
Right.
And I also asked her if she was available to come to my home on a Friday evening when we have the cure meeting. And even if she doesn't speak English, I told her that I could translate. I could go on mute and translate to her. And I would have said, yes, absolutely. But she said, okay, let me think about it. This is not an answer. And believe me, when she does Immunics, she has something special, because I told you, the way she tests, she sees a screen with things written on the screen. For example, if I want to test if I have the flu in my bodies, I go body by body. Well, very often she sees the name of the bodies that the virus is in written in this on this screen.
Wow.
Without even go body by body.
Wow.
Really.
I can see how she do that, because when I think about them, I don't see them on a screen, but I think of them, you know, almost like they're written, like a list.
Yeah. And let me tell you that the day before she had surgery, no, really the day before she was hospitalized, I stayed with her, and just to distract her, I asked her to test about a cat of mine who had renal insufficiency. And I told her, you know, I'm too involved, and that was true. So please test for me. Test if Penny can be cured using Immunics. And she tested no. And then I asked her, well, test if she can be cured with traditional medicine. And she tested no. And that was a Sunday. On Wednesday morning, the cat had to be put to sleep. So she tested right.
Wow.
So she could do wonders if she wanted. And I told her so, but it's up to her. And God knows if I love my sister. Yes, but I can't do Immunics, working at a distance without telling her, of course, but I can't do that all day.
You see, it's time for her now to contribute, you know, to help somebody else, to do something for somebody else.
Yes.
That's the place where she needs to go. Like,
yes.
And, you know, when people don't do what they need to do, they go backwards.
Of course. And that's exactly what happened to her. Because when she got out of the hospital, she stopped doing Immunics. The first summer, she was feeling very well. We used to go around to take long walks and everything. Then, in the winter, she started feeling worse. And now she's always in pain. And what I noticed is she's hiding, because on, I don't remember which day, anyway, I was with her, and I asked her, can we do some Immunics together? And she said, yes, okay, let's do it. We started doing it, and then her husband came home, and she wanted to stop. And I'm sure that's because she didn't want her husband to see her doing Immunics. Instead, she should teach him, or at least offer help. And I'm going to tell her quite straight to her face all this, because she needs to hear it.
Well,
she's going to get angry, I know that, but...
Okay, let's relate this to Jen and Franny.
Okay.
Jen, can you see yourself in any of this? How about Franny? Can you see yourself in any of this?
Sure. A lot of feedback. Yeah, a lot of times, like, I'll do a great session with Ross, or when I did sessions before, and then I'll get off, and this time I didn't completely forget it, but sometimes I just like forget to do, what we discussed, or I do some of it imperfectly. I don't really act on everything I learn.
Okay. Well, let me go to Jen here. I got an idea of how to talk about this, because you're a good example, really. Let's look back at the beginning of the session and compare this to Rosella's sister, okay? Now, number one, Rosella's sister is afraid her husband will see her doing Immunics. Do you think maybe that affects her in every moment of her life?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, she thinks she can keep that. She doesn't realize that she's got to sit down and teach her husband how to do Immunics. There's no way around it. Now, you notice I was telling you to post on Facebook? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you know why?
Yeah, to help other people.
Yeah, but is there any other reason other than helping other people?
Well, you asked me to do it so you can see where I'm at.
Yeah, that's another reason. Okay, is there any other reason you can see? Why would it do Ross's sister good to post on Facebook?
Because you're putting it out there that this is what you're doing and you believe in it, and so you're sharing it.
Yeah, as long as she's hiding from her husband, she can't cure her cancer.
Right.
So if she puts it on Facebook and her husband sees it, she's not hiding anymore, and then she can cure her cancer. Right, Ross?
Yes, but let me tell you that my sister doesn't have a computer and she doesn't speak English.
She
doesn't even know what Facebook is.
So she'd have to do something else then. Forget about Facebook for her, but she has to do the equivalent of Facebook. And
she has to share herself and come out into the open and stop hiding.
You know what we used to do? We had, like you were saying, you invited her to come to your house for the meeting. You could actually invite a group to come to your house for the meeting.
Yes.
Like you could try to get a bunch of people over there, including her and her husband, because maybe if they were in a group, that would help her come out. It wouldn't be all on her. So there's all kinds of ways that we can help people with this. But the bottom line is, let's say nobody's trying to help her. Let's say it isn't your sister. Let's say it's somebody else. I'll tell you a story. This woman wrote me an email, and she said she'd been curing breast cancer, and she said she felt like it was working. And she said that her husband and his brother were making fun of her for doing it. I never heard another word from her. She's probably dead.
Probably, yes.
So that's the bottom line, is these people get killed by their friends.
Yes. Yes. Also my husband is a very good man, but sometimes he makes fun of me for doing Immunics, but I don't care. I couldn't care less. It's my life.
Number one, Ross, you're always really powerful with him anyway, and you just get him right back, But the other thing is that he probably appreciates Immunics, even though he makes fun of you.
It's possible.
Because he's probably happy that you're doing something good for yourself. And also,
Yes.
he's probably frightened of the alternative.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Well, I know that, you know, when people tease me, I mean, a lot of people ridicule me and what we're doing, and but then later on they come and ask me advice on all these things, like how do I cure, you know, such and such, you know, and all this other stuff. And then when I try and show them, sometimes like they say, whoa, you know, like, well, it didn't work, you know, but it's like they're trying to find an easy way, and they are curious, but they aren't dedicated to doing the thing for themselves. But I notice like that happens a lot. You just teach them and they ridicule you, and then later on they just come back and they want to know about it.
Well, you know, you made me think about your brother. And, you know, I know that, see, Franny's brother does succeed with curing things. He cures things. And I've done it with him. But he doesn't do it enough. So, like, he's a businessman, and he's done well, you know, and he has some kids now, which is good for him, and he's made his life way better. But nothing like what it could have been, and I feel bad about that, and I feel like it's my fault, in a way, you know, it bothers me. Because I didn't do everything I could do for him, and he's my friend, and he's helped me. He's helped the Cure Drive a lot. Like, he designed the homepage of the Web College, for example, you know, and he's just given us a lot of good stuff. But anyway, just to go on with this this theme, okay, we're talking about this fast weight loss diet, and that it's probably not that difficult to apply the things that you need to apply so that you can lose weight, but it may be very difficult to actually lose, let's say you're losing a thyroid nodule. That's what you're trying to do, okay?
Right.
And you just tested that, you know, for example, diet could help. Test, are there forms of exercise that might help it? You know, help your body remove it.
Yes.
How about, are there adjustments I could make in my rhythm of waking, sleeping, moving, being still that could help my body remove it? You get anything on
Yes.
that? Okay, got a yes,
Yes.
on. So see, these things are probably, you know, you can probably find them and do them. The problem is going to be the things that interfere. And what we've been like, you've cured a little series of things during this movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what we're noticing is these things, like, they seem like tiny. You know, like when I asked you about your, you know, that when you were talking about your niece telling you that, and see, what happened was, I asked you to test whether a kind of fast would be good for you, and you tested no, and then started explaining to me about this promise you made to your niece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't let you get away with it. Like, I had to go in there and say, hey, wait a minute, let's, you know, what's going on? Is that a symptom?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw you being in a symptom, but most people would just say, oh, okay, but it's just a small thing. So she knocked her microphone back. She put it back. It's fine. Now I can hear her. And they'd go on. They wouldn't say anything more to you about it. But see, the thing is, in order to actually do this kind of curing, which we're talking about we're talking about curing medically incurable diseases. Okay? Obesity is a medically incurable disease. They have all kinds of these things they do. None of it is a cure. Stapling your stomach is not a cure. Surgery is not a cure. Liposuction is not a cure. For obesity, for fat, for being overweight, it's not a cure.
Right.
In order to cure these things, you can't keep anything. That's the thing, is that all these things that people say, well, I want to cure this, but you know what Ross was saying about, I'm relating Ross's sister to you is what I'm doing. Like her sister wanted to go back to the life the way it was. Okay, I'm well now, so I don't need to do that anymore. Let me go back to my life. My dysfunctional, shitty, worthless life. You know? Which I love. They're pigs in shit. People are pigs in shit. And they just want to, they just want to do the thing that gets them by so that they can continue in the waller. That's what they want. And that's why, like, have you ever noticed that you can't teach kickboxing to everybody?
Yeah, I've noticed.
You can't teach yoga to everybody. And remember the time, like, I don't know if you're old enough, but I'm old enough to remember the time when people didn't do yoga. Yoga was this weird thing. Yeah. Then Madonna started publicizing it, and Jane Fonda publicized, and so on, and people started saying, oh, and more people started doing it. Lots of people were doing yoga that didn't. They didn't used to offer yoga at the Y when I was a kid. Now it's everywhere. See? But
well, I noticed that I never go back to where I was before, ever. So that's the good news. There is an essential change, and also I noticed that I can't do the things to myself that I used to thoughtlessly. Like, I can't go back to the, I'm sort of like in between. Like, I'm not 100% this way, or I'm not the way I was. And that no man land can be very uncomfortable for people. Like, for instance, your sister, and she just has to, like, revel. Because, it would mean that she might lose she might lose the admiration of her husband or whatever it is that she's afraid of, But you have to be willing to let go and have that change. And to the extent that I do. I have to say, though, that I still don't practice everything that I learned. But I'm very aware of it. That's the difference. I'm extremely painfully aware of it all the time.
what do you guys have to say about that? Jen, Ross, what do you have to say about it?
Well, sometimes people just are afraid of the opinion of other people, For example, that's what happens to my sister, because she's afraid of her husband's opinion or her friend's opinions, doing something which is different. And I think if she loves her husband and she sees him with the flu, how can she ignore that she could tell him how to cure the flu? But I really don't understand.
Well, I do understand, because when I first met Byatt a long time ago in New York, we did a lot about letting go of approval, and I remember walking down 14th Street on the, it's like it got kind of bad towards the avenue, well, they called them Alphabet Avenues, sorry, this feedback, and I found myself walking along there and wanting the approval of these stupid men on the sidewalk who were like, they were like dregs, and here I was walking down and still worrying whether they were looking upon me with approval and I was beautiful and graceful and everything else like that. And I suddenly realized that I could just let go of that, because that was not something I needed. Like, I didn't need their approval. Yeah. But if you don't have that experience, you can't, I think it would be hard to apply it to somebody that you really, really want approval from, or that you love and means something to you to get it back.
I think my sister goes beyond wanting approval. She's really afraid of what people may think about her doing this or that. It's deeper,
Yeah, and that ruined her life, and now she's going to die, and now it's going to kill her physically this time. Now she's going to die of cancer from it. So, the bottom line is that my commitment, just to speak for myself, is to take everything away from the person so that they have nothing left. Not the slightest dysfunction. And so most people aren't going to want to be around me. But what I would like to do...
It's difficult. It's 24 hours of kicking butt.
But one thing...
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, and I'll tell you what, you don't maybe know this from knowing Franny because she looks so sweet, but Franny is the monster butt kicker of all time. Way more than me. Who never lets anything go by. So that's why Greg and I turned out so well in our lives, because we know her so long, 20...
Maybe it'll last someday.
Maybe I'll hatch. I'm a good egg, right? Okay. So that's the thing that we have to understand, is that we can't worry about whether people opt in or out. What we have to do is go for the key result. Like, in your case, Ross, the way to save your sister's life is for her to get herself past this approval thing and actually, associate herself with other people who cure things, and to be a part of this.
Yes.
You can address that wanting approval or wanting whatever directly, like start there.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Why wouldn't she want to do it?
Or just...
I think it's important that she starts from one small thing, which is telling her husband, and showing him. And then you can decide to do it or not. This is not important. I told my husband, he couldn't test, and he told me, okay, I can't test, I don't want to do it. Okay, it's your choice. But I told you, okay? If she does that, which is something very, very simple, and for many of us natural, but for her is something really big. Really, really big. And I think it could be the first step. And then I want to
if she couldn't do anything else, she has to show how important that is to her. That's a simple thing to do, is to just say, this is important to me, don't put me down.
Yes. God knows if her husband needs Immunics.
Well, there's something I want to say to you, Jim. Which is that I am noticing that you care about Ross's sister curing her cancer.
She has cancer? Is that...
No, she had a tumor, a benign tumor on the bone marrow, but it was in such a position that made it very rare. It was, she had surgery, and it was all taken off. It was examined, and the result of the biopsy was it was benign. But it was invalidating, because now she can't walk without walking help. Okay, and then she's in pain most of the time. If it's too hot, she's in pain. If it's too cold, she's in pain.
Well, anyway,
Really?
the point is that what I'm noticing is that you have a real ability to put somebody else's needs before your own. Like I'm watching you, you know, in this call, and I see that you want Ross to win with this. You know, you care about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
How do you feel when I say that to you?
Like I'm a good person, and I like that.
You are a good person, you know, that is true. Like, I feel that about you. I believe in you and I trust you. And I see that is happening. So to go...
It's good that you like it.
Yeah.
Of course. It's only normal.
Anyway, to get into this, like, whether it's your sister curing the pain that she has as a result of the surgery, or you taking the nodule out, or Franny building up your body and removing flabbiness, then it's all, you have to lose everything. There are some things that are not that difficult to do. Like, I was talking to a guy the other day who's stopped his herpes outbreaks. He said that he had a herpes outbreak, though, after a while. He isn't actually doing enough. He's letting himself slide. And he believes he's doing great because he's really very fragile and doesn't realize it. And, you know, the fact is that people, wonderful people, just relegate themselves into a life of being like, you know, it's like in this university there are grades, you know, and he's a C student, which means he's most of the time getting by without too many symptoms. That's what it comes down to, you know. The A students completely, you know, cure the thing, and the B students, you know, have no symptoms and, you know, no detectability, even though they may still be hosting a bunch of things. And then D is being disfigured or crippled for life, and F is physical death. You know, we don't give the grades. The disease gives the grades. Reality, life gives the grades. You with me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So what we should do now is actually see if you can, by, you know, just thinking of things and testing them, if you can help. See what the way I see dietary intervention with this is that obviously there are an awful lot of causes of this nodule, and most of them are not dietary. Like, what happened was, I think that you grew a nodule on your thyroid because you were trying to do something. That's the impression I got from the last meeting we had. It was what you tested, you know, in the last meeting. And but I think that actually the diet that cures the nodule may also be the diet that cures a lot of the non-physical, the spirit. Have you ever noticed, like, when you fast, that a lot of times you become very peaceful?
Oh, yeah. That's
Well,
what I like about it.
yeah, that's what I like about it too. And so it may only be, you may not actually be curing anything fundamental, but fasting or some kind of dietary intervention may be not only to cure your thyroid, but the thyroid may indicate in a way what you need to do to cure a lot of things. You with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you guys test with her what might be a good fast for her to do, and see what you get together. So, like, come up with ideas and test them.
Okay. Fast on water. I get no. You get yes?
Franny, they can't hear you. Don't go off mute.
I'm sorry. Yes, I got yes. I think I've turned my sound down.
And Jen, what'd you get?
I tried a juice fast and got a yes.
When you tested why don't you all test these things? Test each one together.
Okay.
So the first one you tested was water. What'd you get on that?
I got a yes.
Okay. Go on with just one after another. And test.
Okay. Shall we test for the juice?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
I got a yes for that one.
What kind of juice, then?
Okay.
Green juices is what I had in mind.
Okay. Green juices.
How about fruit? Like
Pineapple. What else pineapple?
I get no on that.
I guess yes. Maybe fruit.
I got no for the fruit.
Okay. How about, we're testing fruit. Coconut water, Bayer mentioned it before. Coconut water.
I got no.
No?
No. There's a mono food diet fast where you eat one kind of like, for example, lentils and rice. And then you just eat that every day, same thing. So,
I got no on the rice and lentils.
Why don't you try chocolate?
Yeah, I got yes on that.
I didn't even want to test because I'm sure I would get yes.
Well, I think you have to think in terms of a certain kind of chocolate, like cocoa, like real chocolate, without sugar in it.
Cacao. Okay.
How about, do you have any idea, Jen?
Do you have to slow yours down or speed yours up?
Slow it down.
Slow it down so you have hyper. Okay. Well, I know they give you radioactive iodine for that, but is just iodine any good? Like foods that contain like seaweed and stuff?
They told me to avoid that. The doctor.
Never mind.
Not go near iodine.
Okay, first of all, everything you're saying you should be testing. For example, you should test slow it down or speed it up. And then you should test eat seaweed, not eat seaweed. Go ahead.
What are we testing? If she needs to slow it down. Okay.
Yeah.
Slow it down. Okay. I get no on seaweed, so it's a very alkaline. It's one of the most balanced things,
But the iodine's supposed to not good for the fast thyroid.
Okay.
I mean, that's what the doctor said. I mean.
Okay.
Well, test it. Is iodine good for?
I guess it's not good for it.
I gotta know. It's not good.
Okay, me too.
Test this question. Is my level of iodine that I already have too high?
Good no.
No. I mean, I hardly eat anything with iodine to begin with.
So would it be good for me to eat some things that have iodine in them?
I got no.
Okay. Let's move on. What other things can you come up with to do? Family fast.
It's more fat, like more, not fat, but oil or something like that. That can slow your
Nuts and seeds. Like
nuts
that?
and seeds. I got yes on that. Anything else? Like avocados?
Yeah.
Not
I have
seeds.
tested for more fat in my diet and got a yes.
Okay, good.
But I've also tested, like, what I'm doing right now is good.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Well, I eat a high carb diet. I'm a vegetarian. I eat a lot of rice. I eat a lot of, not pasta, I eat a lot of oats, quinoa, potatoes, lots of carbs. I eat a moderate amount of fruit, not a lot, you know, like maybe 2 servings a day, a bunch of grapes, apple. I eat a lot of vegetables. That's about it. I don't eat any processed food. I grow a lot of my own food. I eat a really healthy diet.
I test that what she's doing as a diet is okay.
Yeah, but is it enough to actually cure it?
Right.
It's not hurting it.
Well, I think, you know, what was hurting it was a lot of what I was doing before that, which was the protein shakes and the, you know,
Test if that's what it made.
okay, all right. I got a yes.
Okay.
I mean, really, this is the happiest I've ever been about food in 30 years, so.
Well, why don't you test, is the way I'm eating actually curing the thyroid nodule? Oh, you have to turn your light back, or your light on.
Yeah, it's getting dark here. Only lighting up.
Turn on the
The
light.
sun is going.
As the sun
We're like,
sets
no,
out
look like
west.
that.
We're in Europe.
All right. Okay, so the question is what I'm doing now with my diet curing my thyroid nodule.
Right.
I got a yes.
Well, see, that's an interesting thing. Now, I'm glad we thought to test that, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean,
I'm happy with what I'm eating.
see, listen, the thing I want to put out to everybody is we got to remember to test everything. Because what happens is you start talking and you start running on with all these things, and they're all unchallenged. You know, the doctor said this, that, that, and that.
The battling.
Yeah, test the stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're doing very well with your curing of your thyroid nodule, and now you're taking out the actual causes, like why you would put this there.
Well, when I started the Immunics, I had an idea I tested was the obsessive dieting and, just forcing my body, not even listening to what it really wanted, and just because it's on this diet, I have to do it, and because this person did it, told me to do it, because I want to build bigger muscles, I have to do it, and, I just ignored everything, and I'm pretty sure this is the result of it, and now I am not obsessed. I mean, one thing that's happened is I've cured the eating disorders that I had doing this. So that is a huge, huge gain for me.
Well, I have something to get into with you. Have you ever trained anybody who had gout?
Not Not directly. I worked with somebody that was working with somebody that had gout, so
Okay.
I know a little bit. Yeah.
Now, what like gout, one of the symptoms of gout, right, is that you're jogging and you start to get very stiff in the legs, right?
Yeah.
Because you're building up uric acid crystals.
Right.
And as the uric acid crystals can actually saw through the knee sacs. They're like little razor blades, microscopic razor blades. That's why they hurt.
Yeah.
So the person gets stiff. Now I was getting very, very stiff, and I changed my diet and I cured this thing for the most part. And at this point, though, my right knee is still somewhat stiff, although it doesn't mostly feel stiff until I try to bend it up backwards like I'm doing now. I'm sort of testing it, and it feels a little stiff, you know. But I can go for my jog and I don't seem to get, the buildup.
Right.
And the thing I noticed is that worked for me was to eliminate protein.
Mm-hmm.
Or just have chicken. And so that's an example, I guess, of using fasting to cure something. And also, another thing I notice is that it's less of a hassle to eat without eating any protein.
Yeah.
And takes less time, and I don't have as much attention on eating, and so I can put my attention on other things, and I feel more alert and so on those. It depends. Some days I need to eat protein, and like I just ate a raw steak just now. I ate a small raw steak. And because years ago I discovered that when I had night blindness, that was the steak cured that. It's amazing. And so
Yeah.
it's not, like, it depends, like, if you're doing it and you're not obsessing about it, but you're just, you're doing it because you're doing what's good for you. Like, you're eating well, and do you think you're not obsessing, but you're still eating well?
Exactly. I know it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
Like when you first started talking about that, this is like you've mentioned this a few times before, and you qualified it. And you said that doesn't mean I'm sitting on the couch eating bonbons. Remember?
Yeah. I remember.
I decided I can let go of it all. No more exercise. No more diet. Lots of bonbons. It really is doing the thing that is bringing you where you need to be, whether it's eating or moving or curing. Well, it all has to work together that way to bring you to where you need to be. And we can't let anything go by. And Ross, the thing, you could use a little help, okay, with your sister. And so I'll tell you a couple of things. One thing is that anybody who you could introduce your sister to, who does Immunics and who could be with her with that, with you, would be a help.
Okay.
Number one. So just doing something on Skype would be a help.
Okay.
Like calling somebody on Skype and doing it with them. Another thing would be to have a meeting and so on. You just need to make up things where your sister would cross these subtle lines.
Yes.
Because you watch your aunt, and you watch these people, and they have their operation, and they wear a T-shirt that says "Cancer Survivor," and 18 months later they're dead.
Yes.
So you have the cure for cancer, and you just have to get people taking these steps. Like, for example, using Jen as an example, when
Yeah.
when we were talking about your children, and you tested that you had changed your relationship with them, that was a step forward that you took, you know? And so that's what Ross's sister needs to do. We just need to set this up. And everybody's different. Like, you could come in here and work with me and do that, and her sister isn't up for that, so Ross needs to do something else if she wants to help her sister. And the thing is, there's an awful lot of people, Ross, who aren't as lucky as your sister. Like, they're like your sister, but they don't have anybody like you. You with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, your sister's very lucky to have you.
I tell her. And then I tell you what she told me.
Well, you're talking, you know, you said that she needs to be grateful.
Yes.
See, that's a very important thing for
I
somebody,
keep telling her.
for somebody to be grateful.
Yeah. I remember one day, back after the surgery, I asked her to test if she was grateful to her surgeon. She tested no.
Huh.
And she told me he did his work. It's his job.
Right.
I just got an error message that my Skype is just going to shut down.
Uh-oh.
And they're sorry for the inconvenience. So if I just
Franny was saying just ignore it. But you know, her Skype may shut down. But I think this is probably good for today, what we've done. How about you guys? You okay with this?
Yes.
Okay. Franny said okay, but she was on mute.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
I'll see you on Friday, Franny.
Okay.
see you on
Okay.
Friday.
Jen disappeared.
Yes, she did. Well, they're trying to get her back.
That's okay. This is good. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Okay, bye-bye.